This is Roberta Foster, and welcome to today's edition of Author's Corner, brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM, The Word. And today I welcome Terrie Todd to Author's Corner, and she has written the book Lilly's Promise, which is published by Word Alive Press, and she'll tell you more about how to find the book at the end of the program. Terrie is the author of 6 novels, and she lives with her husband in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba, where they raise their 3 children, and they are also grandparents to 5 boys. And welcome back to Author's Corner, Terrie.
Thanks so much for having me, Roberta.
So you have written on a variety of different subjects. What led you or inspired you to write this story, Lilly's Promise?
Well, you've heard of unplanned pregnancies, right?
Yes.
This is kind of the story of an unplanned survival. Essentially, it's the story of a man who survived his own abortion in 1942. Now, he's not the main character in the book. He's the bridge between the 2 main characters, his mother, Lilly, and his daughter, Diana. And their stories unfold in split time, with Lily's story in the 1930s and 40s, and Diana's story in present day. So essentially what happens is Diana, the present-day story, discovers she's given one of those DNA test kits for a birthday present, and something isn't adding up, and she's trying to figure out why all these strange names are showing up in her ancestry, and she starts quizzing her dad, who coincidentally is writing his memoirs, and he wants her to help him. And he has learned secrets that his mother kept all her life, and he only just found out before she passed away, and so now he starts telling his daughter, his mother Lily's story, and so the 2 go back and forth, and both stories are revealed over the time. So as far as what prompted me to write this story, you've probably heard of Gianna Jessen. She was born alive after a failed abortion attempt, and she said, the best thing I can show you to defend life is my life. It has been a great gift. And in 2019, I learned that someone dear to me had chosen to have an abortion, and in the months that followed, I couldn't stop thinking about who that little one might have been and the life they might have led, you know, and so I chose to write about a fictional character who survived an abortion and then the ripple effects of his life.
Well, you covered just about every aspect or variation to the topic of life. You've obviously dealt with the whole abortion thing, teen pregnancies, single parenting, adoption. They're all contained within this book, and that's a pretty amazing accomplishment.
Well, thank you. You know, I don't consider myself a political person or an activist, anything like that. I've been pro-life all my life, and I believe that life begins at conception. But it's just, this is a story, you know, and I just believe in the power of story. Jesus used stories, and often people's minds can be changed just by the power of a story well told, and so that was my goal. The original title of this book was From the Ashes. There's a deliberately set fire that plays a significant role in the story, and it serves as a metaphor for how our decisions affect our lives and the lives of others. And although we later changed the title because From the Ashes has been quite frequently used, but my publisher suggested Lilly's Promise, but the fire metaphor still holds. God can redeem every regrettable decision and bring hope from ashes and life from death. Around the time that I learned about the abortion, one of the songs that we sang a lot at church was Raise a Hallelujah. And there's that line in there, up from the ashes, hope will arise, death is defeated, the King is alive. And so every time we sang that, that chorus just spoke so deeply to my heart, and that's where that original title came from.
The storyline is gripping all the way through. I have read it and, in fact, spent all day in bed one day to get it completed.
Oh, great.
But it's very compelling. It keeps you turning the pages, and but I also really loved the as you mentioned, the storytelling in it that helps people become more aware of different aspects in our society today. And so just really encouraged by the fact that even as you talked about abortion, it was from the side of this is a life. It wasn't hidden how you felt about life. And that was very much appreciated by me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I certainly grew in my compassion for women writing this story. It just, the process reminded me of the fact that we are all so broken, and it raised my compassion regardless of what reproductive choices women make. And then this story also served to remind me in a powerful way that our good shepherd Jesus cares for all his sheep, but he especially pursues the ones who stray. And I kind of hope that I conveyed that in the story. A lot of people didn't like Lilly. Readers have told me, at least not at the beginning, 'cause she does. She just makes a lot of foolish choices throughout her life. You know, depending on your own personality, you might want to smack her sometimes. And Tommy as well. I did that deliberately because you can see how God pursued them and brought redemption to their lives, and so that was my goal.
Well, and realistically, anybody that is contemplating abortion is in a very difficult situation. I mean, something has caused them to have to even think about that as a choice. And so, you know, people that have life together don't typically go through that kind of a dilemma and having to make even think about making the choice of abortion. So it's obvious that the characters have to have some difficulties there. But, you know, one of the things that you wrote, one word stood out in your book to me that you wrote frequently. And when we come back from this short break, I want you to talk about how the concept of deserving God's grace and deserving forgiveness and these type of things, how or why you really I felt kind of hammered that home. So we'll chat about that in just a moment. I'll remind the listeners that I am talking with Terrie Todd about her book, Lilly's Promise. It's published by Word Alive Press, and you're listening to Author's Corner, and I'm Roberta Foster. And so back to the word deserve. The characters spoke often about, I didn't deserve this. I don't deserve this, both in the present and past context. Was that something that another one of those themes that you wrote into the story?
I guess it is. It was maybe a little more less conscious of it than you seem to be. But that I don't like that word deserve, and it gets thrown around so much in so many contexts. From advertising, when they sell, you deserve this product, and you deserve to treat yourself, or you'll see people winning awards or getting to go on a vacation, on social media, and their friends will chime in and say, you deserve this, this is so well deserved. And I thought, well, where does that leave the people that don't get to win the award, or who don't get to go on the vacation? Does that mean they don't deserve it? And it's just this word we throw around, and in the context of God's grace, that's what makes it grace. None of us deserve it. We don't deserve his love. We don't deserve his mercy. If we did, it wouldn't be mercy, We don't deserve salvation and heaven and eternal life and all the things he's given us. So, yeah, we deserve something far worse, but by his grace, we get to have something much better. And I guess that's where I was coming from when I wrote those lines. Well,
and that was it. People think in today's society we deserve all these good things that happen to us, and in reality we don't deserve anything. In fact we deserve judgment, and we deserve penalties, and we deserve punishment from our actions, and yet because of God's grace we receive mercy and forgiveness. And so it really just was, I don't know why it stood out to me so much, but it was like, I deserve this. I didn't know. So anyway, you did a fabulous job of covering that, maybe unconsciously as well.
Thank you.
So Terrie, tell us about your transformation during the writing of this story. Did something happen? Did God accomplish something specific as you put this story together?
Well, I mentioned that someone dear to me had an abortion, and it was something I needed to grieve, and I got a lot of help from our local pregnancy support center, and just someone to talk to, and they just do a fabulous job for women and men in our community, and pregnancy centers certainly across Canada, and they have networks that they can connect people to when women are in these difficult situations. And without judgment, they will offer help, support, a listening ear, regardless of the choice that a woman makes. If they've already had an abortion and, need healing, need a place to grieve that's safe and non-judgmental, they just do a fantastic job. And when I look at Lilly's story back in the 40s, abortion was illegal, and boy, you could get in big trouble. You were judged. You were, even the fact that she was pregnant would have been huge. Never mind the abortion. And so I'm just very grateful that there are more supports in place for women these days. And I apply. You might have noticed that I dedicated this book to our local pregnancy center. And I just appreciate the work they do so much. And so I want to commend them, and I want to tell them that they, helped to raise my level of compassion for women in this situation, both through my own experience and through writing the book.
And it is very easy to be judgmental about people's mistakes that are made, whereas your book encourages that level of compassion towards other people. The phrase that says, walk a mile in my shoes, we really don't know all that somebody's going through during those times. And so asking questions and trying to be helpful is certainly much more of an example of Christ than going the other way. And so you just included so many wonderful aspects in this book. My listeners can probably read between the lines. I highly commend this book to anybody. And, January is Sanctity of Life Month, and so this would be a wonderful book to provide to somebody that may be struggling with some of these ideas, or even if you've got a pregnancy resource center that has books that they can give to other people. This would be a awesome gift to give to them for someone that might need that inner healing themselves. And so we are talking today with Terrie Todd, the author of Lilly's Promise, and a book that is published by Word Alive Press. And Terrie, in the introduction, I mentioned that you had written other books, and do you have something coming up for the next publication already?
I don't. I have 2 or 3 novels still sitting in my computer that I would like to put out eventually, but nothing like that is happening right now. Seems like God has opened a surprise door for me in the last few months, and I'm teaching a creative writing course at a local community college. So that's not something I ever thought I would do, but I'm quite enjoying it, and it's keeping me busy. So, this book was actually the result of a contest win. Word Alive Press it's not a traditional publisher in the sense that they work together with authors, but the author pays the bills. In this case, they run a contest each year for manuscripts, and they pick 2 winners, one fiction and one nonfiction, that they publish at no cost to the author. I had entered that contest before with other books that then went on to be published, but I had never won, and this time they picked my book. So it was a different experience for me, and it was actually my first book published in Canada, because the rest have been published in the States.
Well, when another one hits the press, we'll be happy to take a look at that as well. So let me remind the listeners one more time. The book is called Lilly's Promise, and it's written by Terrie Todd, and we are certainly thankful for the assistance that Word Alive Press has given in publishing this book. And Terrie, we really appreciate your time here on Author's Corner.
The book's available. The easiest way is to get it through Amazon, but if that's not something you do, then really any bookstore would be able to get it in for you if they don't already have it on the shelf. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, to our listeners, we appreciate you tuning in. This is Roberta Foster on the Author's Corner. Join us again next time.